Hi guys, it's about 12:30 on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Stephen Boyle. There is not much going on other than, right now, there's not much going on other than a hazardous weather outlook that is in place for all of Massachusetts, all of Connecticut, all of Rhode Island, southwestern New Hampshire, all of Vermont, and all of eastern New York. That is for the potentials. Well, actually, let's talk about the eastern portions first, particularly the Cape Cod, Block Island, the coastal parts of Rhode Island, and also Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket. These regions will be talking about the coastal waters getting a little bit iffy out there, and also the potentials for some dense fog. Alright, so that's areas generally southeastern Mass and Rhode Island. Then we get to areas away from the coast, or some of your biggest cities, and we start talking about the heat. And that's why we have a hazardous weather outlook for many other regions. These areas I'm shading is where the core of the heat will be, and this actually continues to extend more south and west. Okay, starts in Boston, and again it goes through the Boston metro region, Worcester, Springfield, Hartford. Actually, I think it also includes Providence as well. These regions will be anywhere between, we'll say, 96 to 100 degrees tomorrow and Thursday. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's going to be absolutely hot. Okay, really bad heat, 2 days of it. But then afterward, today, let's just start off with the premise that I don't think it's going to hit 80 degrees today. It's already, 12:30, and there is no sun out there. Now, there are signs of there are signs that the sun wants to come out, and things are starting to lighten up a little, but there is still no sun. Until we get that sun out there, we're not going to hit 80 degrees. Okay. If that sun doesn't come out, and it's still cloudy at around 2 o'clock, well then guess what? We're not going to hit 80 degrees, I don't think. Alright, so the sun will have to start coming out really soon in order for that to happen. Alright, so that's what's going on when it comes in terms of today. Tomorrow will be very warm, and actually tonight will start getting muggy as well. So be prepared. Make sure those air conditioners are prepared. Make sure your pools are ready. Make sure everything is ready and set to go. Make sure you're stocked up on water or sports drinks. You don't want to get dehydrated. Alright, so that's what's going on when it comes in terms of short term. Let's talk about longer term now. We're going to start off with the NAM model. Here's that high. That's going to be really be what's going to be driving this heat right into New England. Alright, and as you can see, this high is going to actually deepen as tomorrow goes on. Today it's a little more broad, which means it's not going to be able to really bring the heat in very well. Well, tomorrow it deepens a little bit more. And what happens is this heat will really be able to get into New England and the Northeast, particularly the major cities of the Northeast, which includes Boston, New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and also Providence and Springfield and Hartford. A lot of heat in through this particular region. Okay. It's really in here where it's going to get the worst. Areas surrounding the region will get into the mid to upper, we'll say mid 90s, low to mid 90s, and this includes the majority of New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, northern Massachusetts. We'll say low to mid 90s. But areas that are in, the major cities or, around the 995 corridor, or just a little bit to the west, we'll say about by 80 miles, you're going to get probably we'll say mid 90s to lower 100s. So very warm, okay? This is going to intensify, and Thursday it gets it starts degrading or starts getting eaten away by this front that's going to form. And then what eventually happens is this high gets pushed down further to the south. Okay, so now its influence is really not being able to get far enough to the north. We're actually starting to talk about this front becoming a little bit more of an influence on our weather, which means, yeah, thunderstorms will be a major concern. For right now, the NAM is not saying that we're going to get much in the way of thunderstorm activity. I don't agree with that. Just think common sense here. We have very humid air, cool air behind it. Okay, very humid, very warm, moist air ahead of it. Very cold Canadian-like air behind it. You have the front here. It's only logical that we would get some pretty nasty thunderstorms. Okay. If any tornadic event were to happen, it would happen this upcoming week, all right, or on Friday. That would be when the worst of the tornadic events would happen. And if you recall, last year on June 1st, the reason why we got tornadoes was because we had a very, very hot prior couple days, and then June 1st we had an intense cold front, and that's what triggered those tornadoes. For right now, though, I am going to say it's going to be a normal-like thunderstorm activity. Just some severe weather, maybe hail, damage, and winds, but nothing out of the ordinary that we haven't seen before. After that, we start really cooling things down, and actually we get pretty, it's actually going to get below average for highs. So moving on, here is that front, and I actually like the way how the GFS is interpreting this. If you notice, here's the front. We have the intense Gulf air really being put out ahead of this front, cold Canadian air behind it. It forms a line of thunderstorms, and these will start marching their way to the east, and as they do, it's going to produce some pretty nasty weather. That moves out by Saturday. On Saturday, we get a much better day, much cooler. There could be a few scattered showers, because what's actually going to start to happen is we actually get a trough that forms out in the east. Okay, so actually it's going to be more something like this. Okay, and there's a ridge in the Midwest and then a trough out in the Northwest. Something like this starts to form, and where this cold pool of air really gets stuck, what's going to actually happen is there could be a tendency of showers to form in where this cool pool is going to be, which is generally going to be northern New England, but they can once in a while hit southern New England. So it would be just a shower activity, maybe a brief heavier rain shower, maybe a rumble of thunder from time to time, but it would not be anything severe. If you notice, there's this area of low pressure right in here, but it's actually not low pressure. This is actually a pocket of really cool air, and underneath this pocket of cooler air, you get a little bit more in the way of instability, and you can sometimes get a little bit of shower activity. Not usually thunderstorms, but usually more in the way of showers. And of course, what eventually happens is we get a low pressure system moving along this trough. Okay, if you noticed, there was an area of low pressure here. It's starting to move like this, and it's going to just continue to move like that. Actually, it's going to move more like this with the trough. And that's because, well, systems like following the way the jet stream moves. So if the jet stream is moving in this direction, well then guess what? The system is going to move as well in this particular direction. All right. So that's what's looking like is going to happen. Eventually there could be a little bit of a system that gathers itself somewhere around the southeast and may try to come its way north and eastward and may try to attack us with some rain, but that would be the first few days into July. We'll have to see how that tries to get itself together. There could be another warm spell probably by the 4th of July. And then yet again, how can I tell? Well, this looks like a pretty wide, broad region of high pressure that's probably centered right in here. There's a front out here. We get the warm air coming in from the southwest, coming into New England and the northeast. And here's the front that's going to work its way eastward eventually and cool us down yet again. So this doesn't seem as bad as the one that's going to hit us right now. We would probably get into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, but who knows? Last week it was looking like we were only going to get up into the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. So things will update as we get closer to this in time. So that's what it's looking like right now. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everyone, and we'll be back tomorrow with another update. Take care, everyone.